Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, Dan Moffat, who is the captain for the Whitehill Welfare Football Club. Thank you for joining me. How are you today?
I'm not too bad, thanks, Abigail. I am doing well. How are you? You okay?
I'm good, yeah. So we'll start off. When did you get into football and who got you into football?
So I think I started when I was around five, and the guy that got me into it, well, my best mate actually got me into it, because his dad was the coach of a team. So I think they actually needed a goalkeeper at the time, and so I originally went in to be the goalie for that team when I was very young, and that's who got me into it. Was my best mate's dad at the time, yeah.
What was the role model you looked up to as a kid?
Oh, as in football or as in life?
In life and football?
Right, okay, so well my role model would have been my granddad, as he was sort of like the one that basically brought me up. In football, I didn't think I really had a role model as such, but I would probably say a guy I always liked who played the game in my position was Sergio Ramos. I liked watching him play. He was a good player, so I always liked to watch him and see what he sort of done when I was young, you know.
Yeah. What was your favourite football memory and why?
Oh, that's another good question. I would probably say when I was younger, we had a really good team at my boys' club level, which was Musborough Windsor, and it was all like my sort of mates that played in that team. So, as I say, we had a really good team. We were really successful. We used to, win a lot of cups. We won the league at that team as well, and we also went abroad. We done a lot of trips abroad, like and stuff like that as well. So just sort of playing with mates. I think when I was younger, and obviously being successful, that was probably, yeah, I would probably say that.
Would you have any advice to young footballers wanting to make football into a career?
Um, I think I think probably just work hard. I think that's the biggest thing. If you can have a good attitude towards obviously your training, and obviously playing on a Saturday, I think if you work hard and you do well in training, I think you'll take that into a Saturday, and you'll play well having done that through the week.
Mhm. What's the best advice you've been given?
Best advice I've been given, I would probably say again, probably I would say hard work again, and having that dedication, and sort of just applying yourself properly, doing all the right things away from football as well. Um, Obviously, you didn't want to just turn up on a Saturday and go through the motions, or even in your training sessions, sort of go through the motions. I think you've got to be at it, and doing the sort of best you can to get everything out of your game, kind of thing.
Yeah. Did you have any play any other sports when you were younger, or was football like the main one you knew that was what you wanted to do?
Football was definitely the main one. Always loved playing football when I was younger. But also did sort of I like running as well, which is weird for not a lot of guys would probably say that. But yeah, I quite enjoyed running, like sort of long distance running.
Mm.
And I remember I done a few cross countries and stuff like that at school when I was younger. I also like playing golf. But see, to be honest, I mean, I just enjoy sort of sports in general. You could put something on the telly for me if it was like, I don't know, tennis or anything, golf, and I'd be glued to the screen. So I quite sporty in general. Just enjoy sort of all sports.
Yeah. What's it like to wear the captain's armband and obviously play for Whitehill Welfare Football Club?
It's obviously a massive privilege. Whitehill are a very big club round about the area, so it's a massive honour. Just obviously you see how much it means to the committee members, the manager, the players, and to be able to lead the boys out on a Saturday is obviously it's a massive honour. We've got a really good bunch of guys as well at Whitehill, good bunch of players. So, aye, to just captain them, and I sort of just do my bit for the club is it's really good. It feels really good.
Hmm. So going on with that, do you have any kind of aims for yourself personally this season, or what's like the aim for the kind of on a club aspect? Would you say?
Well, I think obviously at the start of the season, I think we were looking to gain promotion. That was the number one aim. And obviously personally as well, I'm just trying to help the club do that. You know, I want to just play well and give my all every game and try and get us there. But yeah, I would definitely say promotion. I think we've went through a bit of a tough spell lately, especially with injuries and stuff like that. That sort of hampered us a wee bit. You know, we've been down to the bare bones on quite a lot of occasions this season, and I feel like we've not just quite got the rub of the green. But I think we'll come good. We'll come good. We've got a really good squad, a lot of depth in it as well, and we've got a lot of good guys coming back from injury. So I think once we get those guys back, I really do think we'll kick on, and we'll get ourselves up there.
And do you think kind of people always talk about like mistakes you make makes you stronger? Would you say kind of like these tough times as a team coming all together and like things like that would make you as stronger as not only a person but as a team?
I think it definitely does, Abigail. Yeah, obviously, as I said, we have been going through a wee bit of a tough spell, but I think you've got to kind of have that at some point in the season. You're not going to go through a whole season without getting, a few boys injured, kind of thing. So I think these tough times and when you've got to dig in, you sort of rely on your teammates that bit more, and I think that builds you. As a team, we're obviously quite a fresh team as well because a lot of new faces have came through the door, myself included this season. So I think, yeah, it definitely does sort of, it builds a team morale and stuff like that. And I think, when we do get these guys back from injury and we start just winning a few games, I think we will go on a good run. And I don't think there's much between, any of the teams in our league, if I'm honest with you. We've played some of the top teams and it's been very tight games. I mean, games we could have won as well. So I think anyone can beat anyone in the league. And yeah, no, I think we'll come good. We'll definitely come good.
Who was your first football club when you first got into it?
So my first football team was Dalkeith, which I alluded to earlier. It was my best mate's dad. He sort of ran the club up at Dalkeith, so he got me into that. And then from there, I was obviously I was from Whitecraig originally, so I was bang in the middle of Musselburgh and Dalkeith. But all my sort of good mates and my best mates, the guys I went to school with, they all played with Musselburgh. So I think I started at Dalkeith and then I quickly changed over to playing with Musselburgh and playing with my mates. And I would say that's when we started to get, a lot of success, going through the sort of youth at Musselburgh and the sort of bond we had as a team, as I say, playing with my mates. We had a really good squad throughout every age group. So started at Dalkeith, but quickly changed to Musselburgh. Yeah.
How would you describe your playing style?
My playing style, so obviously I'm a centre half. I play centre back. I'd like to think of my ball playing centre half, try and get the ball, and play it as opposed to just hoofing it. Like to say I'm quite tough in the tackle, maybe a wee bit old school, which I think's going from the game a wee bit. I think you can't sort of get away with what you could maybe sort of 5-10 years ago, but that's just the way the game's going. And I'd like to say I'm quite good in there, like to win my headers, like to win my battles. Probably just quite an old school centre half, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely with the, like, you can't go in for a 50-50 and always expect to,
Aye,
like, especially in games now, like you see VAR kind of coming in now and giving yellows, reds and for stuff that you're thinking back
yeah.
kind of 5-10 years ago that wouldn't have been it. You
Def-
can't kind of, but I feel like now as well, you kind of, are we going to get to a point where it's not going to be a contact sport really as well with kind
well,
of 50-50?
you're starting to sort of think like that. I think obviously it'll always be contact, but like you say, the slightest way your foot's raised or anything like that, if it gets reviewed on VAR and obviously in the Premier League and stuff like that, you're seeing guys getting sent off all the time for, as you say, tackles maybe, 5-10 years ago that would have just been a yellow card and crack on. Do you know what I mean? So, I definitely. Aye, I would say I'd sort of probably miss that part of the game, because I don't feel like you can get away with half as much as what you could have got away with, or not even got away with. I just feel like the game's maybe a wee bit softer now than what it previously has been. Which, it is what it is. Obviously, you've got to have safety in mind as well. You know what I mean? You don't want to have loads of bad injuries, I suppose, but I quite like those sort of tough, hard games, so it's one of them. It's sort of, you've got to have the safety, but at the same time, I'd like to see things just flow a wee bit more.
Hmm. What would be your dream if you could play for any team? What would it be and why?
Oh, good question. I always so the first game of football I ever watched was Real Madrid in the Champions League final at Hampden when they played Bayer Leverkusen, I think it was, and straight away I sort of fell in love with Madrid as a team. So I would probably have to say it would be Real Madrid. That would be the team I'd love to play for. I just think they're best team in the world. All the Champions Leagues they've got, they're sort of iconic as a club. So that would be aye. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but aye, if there was a team, it would definitely be them.
Hmm. And following that would be, what's your dream stadium to play in and why?
Probably going back to Madrid, it would probably be the Bernabeu. Just because I grew up enjoying watching them playing, and I've kind of followed that on throughout my sort of life. So if I ever got the chance, which again's probably slim, to play at the Bernabeu, it would be probably there. Yeah.
Is there anyone like now in the game that you would say you kind of want to be like them, or maybe like you steal quite a lot of their kind of how they play and things like that, like you looked up to now?
Aye. I don't know about now, but again, when I was sort of growing up, when I was a bit younger, I did like watching Sergio Ramos play, another Madrid player again. But I did like the way he played. He always had that bit of fight, bit of battle. He was very good in there. Scored a lot of headers from corners. He was tough in the tackle. He played the ball out from the back, good range of pass and stuff like that. So I would say somebody like him. Would be sort of who I would probably try and model my sort of game on. He's getting on a bit now, but back in the day he was obviously captain to Madrid, and he had loads of success with them as well. So I would probably say somebody like Sergio Ramos. Yeah.
If you could pick a five-a-side of any team, any league, who would be in it?
Oh, that's another tricky one. So many I could probably pick here, but
Hmm.
I would probably say maybe Casillas or Buffon in goals. Two really good keepers, hard to pick between them. Maybe go Maldini and Ramos. Zidane, maybe somebody like Iniesta and Messi. Wait, was that six? It was, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe take one of the defenders out.
And quite as you just covered, who would you prefer, Ronaldo or Messi?
Oh, again, obviously because I like Madrid, I've always enjoyed watching Ronaldo. But if I've got to be honest, I'd probably have to choose Messi. I probably think he's more sort of complete as a player, just naturally gifted. And he just won the World Cup there recently as well. So very tough one. But I think Messi's probably the better player. Yeah.
Hmm. How would you then describe like your captaincy style? Is there also then anyone that you kind of take they're a good captain, or I quite like how vocal they are, or kind of like anything like that?
Yeah. So I mean, I would say I'm quite vocal in the park. Just try and be as motivational as possible. Pick lads up when they're down. Um, and just try and be there for boys as much as possible as well. If you see someone, and you might think, oh, they need a wee sort of pick me up or something, just wee arm round them or something like that. And then obviously just try and your performances as well, sort of be a leader. As I said, like, set the tone with a big tackle, win my battles, win my headers, that kind of thing. And I'd like to think as well that I'm quite approachable as a captain as well. If any of the boys had anything they want to speak about, they could come out to me and just have a wee chat. And then obviously doing things out with football as well, just having that time to do stuff with boys as well. I think that's quite important as well because that sort of builds team bonding. And I think the better the players you play with outside of football, the better you can sort of play with them, on a Saturday kind of thing.
Yeah. Touching on that, actually, I don't know if this is right, but someone said like playing a sport is 50% mental and 50% physicality. How important would you say is it for clubs to get that mental health support as well as the physical side? Obviously, we've seen a few players come out about mental health, kind of saying
Yeah.
how little support there was, or vice versa? How much support? So how would you say kind of do you think more needs to be done for mental health, especially for men's footballers? I would say where they're kind of back in the day were told just
Yeah,
put a smile on your face, kind of act with along with it.
yeah, I know what you mean. Obviously, a football changing room, there's a lot of banter and a lot of sort of, you know, it's a sort of fun environment to be in. You know what I mean? But obviously, deep down, I think you have got to have that mental sort of mental health thing, you know, in your head as well. Just don't push it too far. But you know, the mental side of the game's huge. I think if you're not prepared up there, then you're not going to be able to go out onto the pitch on a Saturday and do the business. Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, you've got to definitely try and get yourself mentally 100%. But like you say, you know, if everyone, you know, at this level and higher, all good footballers, everyone can play, but it's sort of, as you say, that mental side of the game that would probably take them to that next step, sort of next level. I know a lot of really, really good players who I've played with when I've grew up, and they've been better than some guys that have made it, but because of their attitude, they've no sort of kicked on, and it's let them down. So I would totally agree. The mental side, it's just as important, if not more important, than you know, having the sort of technical ability to do well in football. Yeah, for sure.
What's your favourite cheat meal and why, and what would you get?
My favourite cheat meal, I actually just had it tonight. It's Saturday, by the way. I just had a nice Indian, so I would say an Indian. I do like a Thai as well, but I would say if I was having a cheat meal, it would be an Indian, definitely.
Have you got any pre-match superstitions, or would you say you're not very that sort of person, or is there anyone else in the changing room that you think has got ones, if they're weird or not?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I've got any personal sort of superstitions, so to speak. But well, one that maybe springs to mind is my pre-match meal since I've been a boy has always been like cheesy vino, which is beans on toast with cheese on the top. I've always had that. I don't know why, and I still do it to this day, more often than not. So you could say that might be a superstition before a game, which I know is a wee bit weird, but I enjoy it. And in terms of teammates, any boys that have got superstitions, I can't think. No, I can't think of anyone that does, to be honest with you. One might spring to mind later, but off the top of my head, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, especially with like most superstitions, you won't realize unless they're like really weird or something,
Well,
because some of them can be as
yeah,
simple as just putting left or right foot first on a pitch.
it's literally that. Aye, so I maybe have got a few other ones, but I'm just trying. I can't sort of think off the top of my head that you know that I do, but probably do things without even realising it, like you say.
Is there any meaning behind your squad number?
So with squad numbers, we don't actually pick our squad number at Whitehill. So the manager, he actually picks our squad numbers before the game. Don't know if there's a reason for that or not, but once he reads out obviously the starting 11, he'll tell us what numbers we are. So we unfortunately we don't get to choose. If I was to choose, it would be number 8. I've always just loved the number 8, and I used to play centre midfield as well, and that's obviously a centre midfielder's number 8. So I suppose that could be a wee bit of superstition as well. At previous clubs, when you do pick your own number, I've always wanted number 8, and I've always done everything I've could to sort of to get number 8. But I at Whitehill, I'm usually number 4 or number 5, centre half number 8.
If you could play any position like really well, what position
Yep.
would you play?
Probably be centre midfield, to be honest with you, because it's you do a bit of everything in the middle of the park, don't you? You obviously have your defensive side of things, which I really quite enjoy. Obviously the tackles and the sort of defensive side of the game, and then obviously going forward as well. You can go forward as a centre midfielder, and you know you can chip in with goals, assists, you know, pass and stuff like that. So I feel like centre midfield, sorry, covers a bit of everything. And I think if you're a good sort of centre midfielder, you know you can do everything pretty well. I would probably say centre midfield, yeah.
Mhm. And last question I've got would be, what teams do you support?
So obviously as we've previously mentioned, Real Madrid. I enjoy watching them, and also my Scottish team's Hibs. I also enjoy watching Hibs play. I'm a Hibby for my sins. But those would be my two teams, would be Real Madrid and Hibs.
Who are the favourite current players?
What was that, sorry?
Who are your favourite current players for those teams?
I really like watching Bellingham play at Madrid. He's just been a breath of fresh air since he's came in. I think he's scoring a lot more goals now as well since he signed from Dortmund. So obviously watching him play, Madrid just played in the El Clasico and he got 2 goals for them to win it 2-1. So he's absolutely magic to watch. I love watching Bellingham play. And then obviously all your usual boys like your Messis, your Ronaldos, although they're obviously ones in Saudi, ones in America. Boys are class to watch. And then just Champions League games, the standard's so high. Premier League as well, love watching. There was a good game the other night between Spurs and Chelsea. Spurs went down to 9 men and they just absolutely battled. And Chelsea actually struggled to break them down, although they eventually won 4-1. But I just love watching football. Love playing, love watching. So I'm just a massive fan,
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been amazing just speaking to you, hearing your journey. Would you be able just to say about any fixtures that are coming up, or?
So yeah, I think so. We've got a wee friendly on Tuesday night. We're playing Haddington just down at Ferguson Park, our home pitch. So that should be quite good. And then we've got Kenaway Hearts, I think it is, away the next again Saturday. So a week today. And then I think we've got quite a big start to December as well. I think we go away to Camelin, who are top of our league at the moment, I think. So that'll be a very hard game. But I mean, as a player, these are the games you want to play in, And if we can manage to, get a good result against them, that could actually start to sort of kickstart our season, So here's hoping we get a positive result next week. We go and beat Kenaway, and then we take that into the Camelin game the week after, and hopefully go and take 3 points, and that can kickstart us and get us going.
Definitely. If anyone can go alongside, I'm sure your support will be much appreciated by the guys.
Definitely.
And also get following Whitehill Welfare Football Club on Twitter, Instagram, and I think they might be on Facebook and other places. Just look them up and follow Dan. Yeah, they are. And then obviously follow Dan. You'll always keep up to date. But thank you so much for joining me. It's been amazing.
No worries, Abigail. Thank you very much for having me. All the best.